Welcome to today's episode. Today, I want to talk with you about something that truly shapes our lives: steadiness. Life is full of changes. Some days feel calm and simple, but other days can hit us like a storm. And in those moments, it's not the storm that defines who we are, it's how we respond to it. This episode is about learning to stay strong when everything around you feels uncertain. It's about finding your balance, keeping your focus, and believing in yourself even when the world feels heavy. And just like in life, learning English also has its storms. There are days when you feel confident and days when nothing seems to work. But if you stay steady, if you keep going, you'll discover your true strength. So take a quiet moment, listen carefully, and let these words remind you that every challenge is an opportunity to grow in life and in your English journey too. Life often surprises us when we least expect it. One day, everything feels peaceful, calm skies, no worries. But the next day, the wind starts to blow, and suddenly you find yourself in the middle of a storm. It might be a financial problem, a health issue, a relationship challenge, or even a storm inside your own mind. The truth is, storms are a part of life. They always come sooner or later. The real question is not if they come, but how steady you will be when they do. I've seen people go through the same kind of storm with completely different results. One person comes out stronger, wiser, even thankful for the lesson. The other person comes out broken, angry, and defeated. What makes the difference? It's not the storm itself. They both face the same wind, the same rain. The difference is steadiness, the ability to stay calm and hold your ground when everything around you feels unstable. And steadiness is not luck. It's not something that only special people have. Steadiness is something you build. You build it through your daily habits, your small decisions, and the way you think about life when things don't go your way. You can't wait for the storm to start before trying to become strong. Just like a tree doesn't grow roots during a hurricane, you can't build your strength in the middle of chaos. You build it in peaceful moments, when the sun is shining and life seems easy, so that when the storm comes, you're ready. When I was in my 20s, I wasn't prepared at all. Every small problem would shake me. If I lost a job opportunity or received criticism, I could feel upset for days, even weeks. I didn't have a strong center. I reacted to everything but had no solid foundation. Later, I realized that if you don't anchor yourself in strong values, the world will keep throwing you around like a leaf in the wind, because life will always have noise, news, opinions, and trends that can pull you away from what truly matters. Think about a tree. A tree with deep roots can bend in the wind, but it won't break. A tree with shallow roots, however, will fall during the first big storm. People are the same. Some live shallow lives, focused only on what's happening right now. Others live deeply, with values, purpose, and discipline. That's the difference between breaking and bending. And I know when the storm feels strong, it's not easy to stay calm. Fear shows up, doubt starts whispering, anxiety grows. But that's exactly when steadiness matters the most. Anyone can be calm when everything is perfect, but real strength shows when life tests you, when you feel pressure, when things seem unfair, when everything inside you wants to give up. That's the moment when you must decide. Will you panic like everyone else, or will you stand tall and steady? Because steadiness gives you something powerful: time. While others rush, react, and make mistakes, steadiness gives you space to breathe, to think, to act wisely instead of emotionally. It doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means pain doesn't control you. And once you realize that the storm doesn't own you, you start to feel a quiet confidence inside. It's calm, but powerful. And that kind of confidence changes everything in life, in love, and even in how you learn and grow. Learning English is a lot like that. There are days when everything feels easy and days when motivation disappears. But if you stay steady, if you keep learning a little every day, the storm of doubt will pass. What remains is your strength, your progress, and your quiet confidence that says, I can do this. So let me ask you something. Where in your life do you need more steadiness? Is it in your money, your health, your relationships, or maybe in your emotions? Wherever the storm usually hits, that's where you need stronger roots. That's where you need discipline, focus, and a steady hand on the wheel. Because storms will never stop coming. But if you learn to stand strong, you won't just survive them. You'll use them to grow. Every storm can make you wiser and more confident if you know how to face it. One of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself during hard times is, what am I built on? Because when life gets difficult, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your foundation. If that foundation is weak, the fall can hurt. But if it's strong, you might shake for a while. But you'll still be standing when the storm passes. So what builds a strong foundation? It starts with your philosophy, how you choose to see life, not just what happens to you. Two people can experience the same problem, but one says, this is the end, while the other says, this is a lesson. And that difference in thinking decides who recovers faster. Storms aren't just obstacles, they're teachers. They show you where you've been careless and help you see what truly matters. I remember meeting a man who had lost almost everything during a financial crisis. He said, I feel like the storm took it all from me. But I told him, no, the storm only revealed what was never secure. What's still standing? That's your real foundation. Sometimes life's storms remove the illusion and leave you with the truth. And if you're brave enough to face that truth, you can rebuild your life, stronger than before. But that's only possible if your philosophy reminds you, this is not the end. This is a new beginning. Now, let's make this practical. Steadiness doesn't appear overnight. It's built through small, daily disciplines. These disciplines make you stronger than your circumstances. When the storm of debt comes, steadiness means managing your money wisely, budgeting, saving, and living within your means. When the storm of poor health arrives, steadiness means eating well, moving your body, and getting enough rest. When the storm of discouragement hits, steadiness means filling your mind with something better, reading, listening, and learning instead of letting fear control you. Disciplines are like roots. The deeper they go, the stronger and steadier you become. And learning English works the same way. You don't become fluent in one day. It's built step by step. One new word, one new sentence, one small habit at a time. Every time you practice, every time you listen or read, you grow your roots of knowledge a little deeper. So don't rush the process. Stay steady, stay patient, and let your daily effort build the foundation for the future you want. Because just like a strong tree, if your roots are deep, no storm can break you. Many people ask, how do I stay calm when everything around me is falling apart? The truth is simple but powerful. You must prepare before things fall apart. If you don't practice calmness in small situations, you won't suddenly find it in big ones. If you don't learn to control your emotions when small things irritate you, bigger problems will easily overwhelm you. Steadiness is like a muscle. It grows only if you train it regularly, little by little. You can't wait for a storm to start building strength. You must build it in advance. So when the storm finally arrives, you can handle it. But here's something even deeper. Storms don't only test your strength, they test your character. When life puts pressure on you, will you lose your values? Will you take the easy way out? Or will you stand firm even when it's uncomfortable? True steadiness means staying loyal to your principles even when it costs you something. People notice this. Your family, your friends, your colleagues, they all draw strength from your calm energy. In moments of chaos, people look for someone who won't panic. Be that person. Be the steady one. And here's what happens when you practice steadiness. The storm doesn't destroy you. It helps you grow. It gives you stories to tell, wisdom to share, and confidence that no one can take away from you. After you've survived one storm, the next one doesn't scare you as much. You can say, I've been here before. I know how this feels. I know I'll make it through. That's real strength, earned through experience. So, don't hate the storm. Respect it. Learn from it. Let it show you what areas of your life need stronger roots. Let it remind you what truly matters. Because every storm you face reveals how much steadiness you've been building inside all along. And when you walk out of the storm, you won't be the same person. You'll be stronger, calmer, and wiser. One of the biggest secrets to staying steady is learning how to manage your emotions. When a storm comes, what happens around you is important, but what happens inside you matters even more. The outside storm might be loud and scary, but the storm within you decides how you'll respond. If you lose your calm, you lose your clarity. And when clarity disappears, your decisions become poor, your actions rushed, and the storm does more damage than it should. If I'm honest, I wasn't always good at this. I used to lose control easily, letting emotions guide my reactions instead of reason. But over time, I realized something powerful. Just like learning English, emotional control is a skill that grows through practice. You don't master it overnight. It takes patience, awareness, and daily effort. Each time you choose calm over chaos, focus over frustration, or understanding over anger, you train your inner strength. And that's exactly how you build not only your character, but also the confidence to face anything in life, in relationships, and even in your English journey. There were moments in my life when even the smallest setback could throw me completely off track. I would panic, overthink, and let fear decide what to do next. And you know what happens when fear takes control? It creates even more mistakes. The storm outside was already hard enough, but I was making it worse with a storm inside my own mind. It took me years to understand one simple truth. In any crisis, the first thing you must manage is yourself. If you can calm your thoughts, you can calm your actions. Because the truth is, we never make our best decisions when we're emotional. We make them when we're calm, focused, and clear-headed. That's why it's dangerous to let anger, fear, or frustration take the wheel. Those emotions always drive you into trouble. The goal isn't to erase your emotions, that's impossible, but to discipline them. Let your mind guide your emotions, not the other way around. I remember talking to a businessman who was going through a serious financial crisis. He told me he felt like he was losing everything. I asked him, "What was the first thing you lost?" He thought for a moment and said, "My peace of mind." And I told him, "That's the most dangerous loss. Because if you lose peace, you lose control. But if you regain peace, you can rebuild everything else." That's the truth. Peace of mind during a storm isn't optional, it's essential. But how do you build it? You build it by feeding your mind with the right things. In tough times, don't drown in negative news. Don't spend time with people who only complain. That only makes the storm inside stronger. Instead, fill your mind with positive words, good books, and conversations that lift you up. Because in difficult moments, the voices around you matter more than ever. The wrong voices make your fears louder. The right voices make your heart steady. Another powerful habit is to keep perspective. Ask yourself, will this really matter 5 years from now? Most of the time, it won't. It may hurt, it may cost you something, it may even change your plans. But years from now, you'll barely remember it. What you will remember, though, is how you reacted and what you learned from it. And this mindset also applies to learning English. There are days when you feel stuck or make mistakes, and it feels like you're failing. But if you stay calm, take a breath, and keep practicing, you'll realize that every mistake is part of the process. The people who succeed in learning English are not the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who stay calm and keep going no matter what. So next time a storm comes, whether in life or in your English journey, remember, the most important thing you can protect is your peace of mind. Because when you keep your inner calm, you keep your power. If a problem or a challenge will still matter to you 5 years from now, then it deserves your best steadiness, not your worst panic. But most of the time, perspective helps you realize that many storms aren't as big as they seem. When you take a step back, the noise gets quieter and the storm begins to shrink to its proper size. Now, let's be clear. Steadiness doesn't mean pretending the storm isn't real. It doesn't mean ignoring pain, pretending not to feel loss, or forcing yourself to smile through disaster. True steadiness means facing reality with courage. It's saying, yes, this is happening. It's hard, but I'm not going to let it take my peace. You focus on what you can control and learn to let go of what you can't. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. The world may shake around you, but don't let it shake what's inside you. Protect your peace, keep your perspective, and remember, if you win the battle inside, you can face almost anything outside. Once you learn to stay calm in one storm, you'll never fear storms in the same way again. Steadiness also comes from preparation. You don't wait for a storm to appear before thinking about how to survive it. The smart ones prepare while the skies are still clear. Because when the emergency comes, people who are unprepared start panicking, and panic never leads to good decisions. Preparation gives confidence, and confidence brings peace. I used to look at calm people during chaotic times and think, they're so lucky. But later I realized it wasn't luck. It was preparation. They had savings, so financial problems didn't break them. They had strong skills, so when one job ended, they could find another. They had supportive relationships, so when life pushed them down, there were hands ready to lift them up. That's what real steadiness looks like. Built through consistent preparation, one smart decision at a time. Let's talk about money for a moment. Everyone has a relationship with money, some healthy, some not. One of the best ways to stay calm in difficult times is to practice financial discipline. Save a part of every amount you earn. Don't spend everything you have, because storms don't send warnings. Job loss, illness, or a weak economy can arrive anytime. The prepared person can stay calm, not because they're immune to problems, but because they've built a safety net. Preparation gives peace. The same applies to your skills. If you depend on only one skill or one job and it disappears, the storm feels like the end. But if you've been learning, growing, and developing new skills, then a closed door is not a disaster. It's just a redirection. Preparation turns a storm from a dead end into a detour. And that's why learning English is one of the smartest forms of preparation you can invest in. It's not only about grammar or vocabulary, it's about giving yourself more ways to connect, to work, to grow. The more you prepare now, by listening, reading, and practicing every day, the stronger you'll be when life brings unexpected changes. So prepare while your sky is still clear. Build your roots before the storm begins, because steadiness is not luck, it's preparation in disguise. Sometimes the detour life gives you leads to a better road than the one you planned. That's why preparation, even though it doesn't look exciting, is one of the most powerful things you can do. It's not about big dramatic actions, it's about small daily habits. Saving a little, learning something new, taking care of your body, and strengthening your relationships. These things might not seem urgent today, but they make all the difference tomorrow. Do them while the sun is shining, when everything feels easy. Then, when the clouds appear, you'll face the storm with calm. The calm of someone who knows they're ready. And if you've ever been caught unprepared before, don't be discouraged. Everyone has been there. What matters is what you learn from it. If the last storm left you shaken, use that experience as motivation to prepare for the next one. Because life will always bring storms. That part won't change. The only question is, will you be stronger next time? If you make the decision to prepare today, the answer can be yes. So take a moment and ask yourself honestly, where in your life do you need more preparation? Is it your finances, your health, your skills, your relationships? Don't wait for the perfect time. Start now. Preparation today becomes steadiness tomorrow, and steadiness tomorrow is what helps you survive the next storm without losing your balance. One of the hardest tests of steadiness is patience. When storms come, our natural reaction is to want them to end quickly. We want comfort, solutions, and peace right away. But storms don't listen to our demands. They move on their own schedule, not ours. And if we don't learn patience, we make things worse. We rush decisions, force outcomes, or give up too early. I've seen people abandon good plans simply because they didn't see results fast enough. They said, "It's not working," when in reality, it just wasn't working yet. The storm was still passing. Success often requires you to hold steady longer than you'd like, to keep planting seeds, to keep believing, and to keep working even when nothing seems to change. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right things consistently while waiting for time to catch up. Think about a sailor on a rough sea. He can't command the ocean to calm down, but he can hold the wheel steady, adjust the sails, and ride through the waves until the storm ends. That's what patience looks like in action. You can't control how long the storm will last, but you can always control your behavior while it's happening. And that's where your real strength is, not in controlling life, but in controlling yourself. And just like with life, this lesson applies perfectly to learning English. You can't become fluent overnight. Some days your progress feels slow, your motivation fades, and the storm of doubt begins to grow. But patience is your best teacher. Keep listening, keep practicing, and keep showing up, even when results aren't visible yet. Because with every small effort, you're building something powerful inside you: discipline, confidence, and steady growth. So stay patient, stay consistent, and trust the process. The storm will pass, and when it does, you'll find yourself stronger, wiser, and closer to the future you're working toward. That kind of inner steadiness is often all it takes to come out ahead. And remember, not every storm is destructive. Some storms come to clear your path, to remove what no longer serves you, and to show you what's truly strong inside you. They might shake your world for a while, but often they leave you better than before. I once spoke with a man who lost his job during a difficult economic period. At first, he thought it was the end of his world. But a year later, he told me it was actually the best thing that had ever happened to him. Losing that job forced him to start his own business, something he had always dreamed of but never had the courage to do. The storm had pushed him into growth. He couldn't see the good in it at first, but with patience, the lesson became clear. That's why your philosophy, the way you think about life, matters so much when times are hard. If you see storms only as disasters, you'll panic. But if you see them as teachers, you'll stay steady long enough to learn from them. Sometimes the lesson is endurance. Sometimes it's creativity. Sometimes it's humility. But there's always something to learn, and steadiness gives you the clarity to see it. Now let's talk about something that goes hand in hand with patience: consistency. Patience without consistency is just waiting, but patience with consistency builds progress. When you stay steady in your daily habits, even while life feels chaotic, you grow stronger with every small act. Keep saving, even when money is tight. Keep exercising, even when you're tired. Keep learning, even when progress feels slow. That kind of quiet, steady consistency is what separates the strong from the shaken. Here's the interesting part. When you stop demanding that the storm ends right away, it often feels shorter. Why? Because your focus changes. You stop thinking about escape and you start thinking about discipline. You stop counting the minutes and start building habits. You stop complaining about the wind and start adjusting your sails. Suddenly, time doesn't feel wasted anymore. It feels invested. So here's a challenge for you. Don't measure your life only by the sunny days. Measure it by how steady you remain during the stormy ones. Everyone faces storms, financial, emotional, or personal, but not everyone comes through them the same way. The people who come through stronger, wiser, and more confident are the ones who master patience, consistency, and perspective. They don't just survive storms, they grow through them. That's the real goal. Not just to get through hard times, but to become better because of them. To become steadier, wiser, and deeper. Then, when the next storm comes, and it will, you'll face it not with fear, but with faith in your ability to endure. But there's something else to remember. Storms don't come in just one part of life. They can arrive anywhere. In your finances, in your health, in your relationships, in your career, even in your thoughts. Real steadiness doesn't mean being strong in one area while everything else collapses. It means building balance, a kind of harmony that keeps you grounded no matter where the pressure appears. So ask yourself, where could a storm show up in your life? Which area feels the weakest right now? That's where you should start preparing, strengthening, and practicing your steadiness. And just like in life, your journey of learning English will face its own storms, moments of doubt, frustration, or slow progress. But every time you stay patient, consistent, and balanced, you're not only improving your English, you're also building a stronger version of yourself. Because the person who stays steady in learning stays steady in life. We've already talked about some of these areas, but let's look at them more closely. Because storms can appear anywhere in life, and each one requires a different kind of steadiness. No. 1. Money. A financial storm can destroy years of progress if you've been careless. One unexpected bill, a job loss, or a sudden economic downturn can shake everything. But financial steadiness doesn't come from luck. It comes from daily habits. saving regularly, spending wisely, investing carefully. If you live on the edge, every problem feels like a disaster. But if you build discipline and prepare ahead, the storm may shake you, but it won't sink you. You'll be able to breathe, think clearly, and make smart choices instead of panicking. No. 2. Health. Life will always test your body through illness, fatigue, or injury. If you treat your health as something secondary, you'll have nothing to rely on when pressure comes. But if you build steady habits of exercise, nutrition, and rest, you'll surprise even yourself with your strength. Sometimes that consistency becomes the line between recovery and collapse. The body you care for in peaceful times will protect you in difficult ones. No. 3. Relationships. Relationships have their storms too. Misunderstandings, disappointments, even betrayals. In those moments, steadiness shows in how you speak, listen, and react. Can you stay calm when emotions are high? Can you forgive when it's easier to argue? Can you stay loyal when others are tempted to walk away? Real relationships don't survive only on love or emotion. They survive on steadiness, patience, and kindness. And when storms hit, your calm becomes a shelter for the people you love. No. 4. Work and career. Your professional life has storms of its own. The market changes, a boss leaves, opportunities disappear. Some people panic or give up, but the steady person adapts. They don't deny the storm. They adjust to it. They keep learning, improving, and showing up, even when times are uncertain. And when the storm finally passes, as it always does, they're still standing, ready for the next opportunity. No. 5. Your mind. This is the most important one of all, because if you lose your mindset, you lose everything else. Doubt, fear, and negativity are like strong winds that hit your thoughts and shake your confidence. If you don't protect your mind, those winds can tear down everything you've built. That's why it's vital to feed your mind with the best. Don't let bad news, gossip, or toxic people live rent-free in your head. Choose books, ideas, and voices that lift you higher. Keep your thoughts calm and focused, even when the world outside feels chaotic. Steadiness isn't just one habit, it's a way of life. It's how you save, how you eat, how you love, how you work, and how you think. Every small act of discipline becomes part of the foundation that keeps you stable when life starts to shake. And if you're learning English, it's the same principle. Don't rush. Don't compare yourself to others. Instead, build steadiness. Read every day, listen carefully, speak even when you're nervous, and stay patient through mistakes. Because fluency, just like peace, doesn't come from speed. It comes from consistency. When you live with that kind of steadiness, you stop fearing the storms. You start trusting yourself. And that confidence is what makes all the difference. Steadiness is a decision, a conscious choice to build strength in every part of your life because you never know where the next storm will hit. You can't predict it, but you can prepare for it. When you've worked on your steadiness in all areas, your money, your health, your relationships, your work, and your mind, you can face anything. You might get shaken, but you won't break. You might bend, but you won't collapse. And here's something beautiful. When you're steady, you don't just help yourself. You help others. Your calm becomes a shelter for those around you. Your family feels safer. Your team works with more confidence. Your friends feel supported when life gets hard. That's what real leadership looks like. Not loud words or big speeches, but quiet strength. The strength of someone who holds things together when others are falling apart. So ask yourself today, In which area of your life do you need to become steadier? Is it your money, your health, your relationships, your work, or your mindset? Pick just one. Start small, build daily habits that make you stronger. Because if you can stay steady through one storm, you'll have the confidence to face the next. Life is not about avoiding storms, it's about becoming strong enough to endure them. Storms have a strange way of calling us higher. They challenge us to grow beyond comfort, beyond excuses, beyond the easy path. And that's when steadiness shows its real power, not just as survival, but as maturity. Because to remain steady in hard times, you must become more than you were before the storm began. I often tell people, don't wish for fewer challenges, wish for more wisdom. Don't wish the storm away. Wish to become stronger in the middle of it. Because storms don't ask permission. They don't wait for you to feel ready. They come without warning. But if you see them not as interruptions, but as invitations, they can transform you. Every storm says, grow up, rise up, stand firm. And when you answer that call, you discover a stronger, wiser version of yourself that you didn't know existed. Think about history. The people we admire most, leaders, parents, inventors, heroes, they didn't live in easy times. They lived in storms. They made calm decisions under fire. They kept families together during hardship. They faced impossible pressure, and still, they didn't give up. And that's exactly what steadiness is. The ability to hold your ground with grace when everything else is shaking. Learning English is also a kind of storm, sometimes frustrating, sometimes confusing, sometimes exhausting. But if you stay patient and steady, every challenge becomes a lesson. Each mistake teaches you something new. Each hard day strengthens your determination. So don't wish for easier lessons, wish for a stronger mind. Don't wish for quick results, wish for lasting progress. Because just like in life, the goal is not just to get through the storm, but to become better, wiser, and more confident because of it. And just like those storms that test your courage, learning English will test your patience, your focus, and your belief in yourself. There will be moments when you feel tired, when you think, maybe I'll never be fluent, or when you compare yourself to others and lose motivation. But that's your storm, and it's also your opportunity to grow. Every time you push through frustration and keep learning, you're not just improving your English, you're building character. You're training the same steadiness that helps people overcome real challenges in life. Because mastering a language is never about talent alone, it's about discipline, consistency, and faith in the process. When you wake up and listen to a short podcast in English, that's strength. When you make mistakes and still try again, that's courage. When you keep learning even when progress feels invisible, that's steadiness. Fluency doesn't come to those who study once and quit. It comes to those who keep showing up, who turn learning into a daily habit, like breathing or walking. Every word you learn is a small victory. Every sentence you understand is proof that your storm is passing. So don't wait for perfect conditions to start speaking or writing. Don't wait to feel ready, because you already are. The best time to build your English is always now. Even 10 minutes a day can move you forward if you stay consistent. And remember, English isn't just a language, it's a bridge. It connects you to people, ideas, and opportunities all over the world. It opens doors to new books, new friendships, new careers, and new versions of yourself. When you stay steady in your learning, something amazing happens. English stops being a subject. It becomes a part of who you are. You start thinking in it, dreaming in it, living through it. And one day you'll look back and realize The storm that once scared you became the reason you grew. So keep going, keep learning, keep believing, because your English journey isn't just about speaking fluently, it's about becoming stronger, more confident, and more unstoppable every single day. Learning English is not just about grammar rules or memorizing words, it's a journey of transformation. It's about building a version of yourself who can walk confidently into the world, connect with anyone, and express your ideas freely. Every time you sit down to study, listen to a podcast, or repeat a sentence, you're planting a seed that will grow into something powerful. At first, it feels slow. You might repeat a word 100 times and still forget it. You might listen to a native speaker and understand only half of what they say. You might even feel embarrassed when you make mistakes. But that's exactly what growth looks like. Messy, uncomfortable, yet full of hidden progress. The key is not to give up when the storm of doubt begins to whisper that it's too hard. Because the truth is, every person who speaks fluent English today once felt the same way you do right now. The difference is that they kept going. They didn't wait for the perfect day, the perfect teacher, or the perfect level of motivation. They practiced through boredom, through confusion, through fear. And step by step, their small daily effort built the fluency they once dreamed about. When you stay steady in learning English, you're training your mind to think globally. You begin to see the world differently through stories, films, conversations, and cultures that were once closed to you. English becomes your key to freedom. You can travel without fear, study anywhere, and share your ideas with people from every corner of the planet. And most importantly, English becomes a mirror for your inner growth. It teaches patience because you can't rush real progress. It teaches humility because you'll make mistakes and learn from them. It teaches courage because speaking another language means showing the world who you are without hiding behind perfection. So, when you wake up tomorrow, don't just think, I need to study English. Think, I'm building my future. Every minute you spend reading, listening, writing, or speaking is an investment in the person you're becoming. Start with something small. One paragraph, one new word, one short video. Then, make it a daily ritual. Because consistency is stronger than intensity. A few minutes every day is far more powerful than hours once a month. If you feel lost, listen to your favorite English podcast. If you feel tired, read a motivational quote in English. If you feel afraid to speak, talk to yourself out loud. Practice describing your thoughts, your plans, your feelings. The more you do it, the more natural it will become. And one day, you'll notice something magical. You'll think in English without translating. You'll listen to a movie and understand it without subtitles. You'll talk to someone from another country and realize that communication has no borders anymore. That's when you'll understand the true reward of steadiness. The moment when you no longer struggle to learn English, but live it. So don't wish the journey was easier. Wish to become stronger through it. Don't wish for fast results. Wish for deep, lasting progress. Don't wait for the right time. Create it. Because your English journey is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about becoming the kind of person who stays calm in the storm, confident in challenges, and unstoppable in growth. Every word you learn builds your future. Every lesson shapes your destiny. So, hold steady, stay patient, keep moving forward, and remember, the storm always passes, but your strength remains forever. Learning English is a long, living process, not a sprint, but a steady climb toward fluency, confidence, and freedom. And like every meaningful journey, it's filled with quiet mornings, long evenings, and countless small choices that shape who you become. You see, every word you learn is a brick in the house of your future. Every sentence you speak out loud is a step forward on a path that millions have walked before you. You might not notice progress day by day, but the transformation is happening beneath the surface. Like roots growing deep underground, your understanding of English becomes stronger, even when you can't see it yet. There will be days when your motivation fades. You'll forget words you once knew. You'll listen to a video and feel lost. You'll compare yourself to others and think, I'll never speak like them. But here's the truth. Everyone who speaks English fluently today once felt exactly the same. The difference is not talent, it's persistence. When you keep practicing no matter what, you're building something more powerful than language skills. You're building character. You're teaching your brain discipline, your heart patience, and your soul resilience. That's why every small act matters. Reading one page a day matters. Listening to a podcast while walking matters. Repeating sentences in front of the mirror matters. Because learning English isn't just about words, it's about becoming a new version of yourself. It's about learning to think in another rhythm, to express your emotions in another language, to understand people from another world. It's a kind of rebirth where each word you master opens a new door to life, culture, and opportunity. Imagine this. One day, you're traveling abroad, and you start a conversation effortlessly. You order your food with confidence. You share your thoughts clearly. You laugh. You connect. And for the first time, you feel completely free, not limited by language. That moment will come. But it won't come because of luck. It will come because of your steadiness, your quiet decision to keep showing up every single day. So, learn with purpose. Read every morning, even for 5 minutes. Listen before bed, even if you're tired. Write down your thoughts in English, no matter how simple they are. Speak to yourself when no one's listening, because every time you do, you're building not just fluency, but strength, confidence, and identity. And remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's connection. You don't need to sound like a native speaker, you just need to sound like yourself, but more open, more expressive, more alive. English is your bridge to a bigger world, to books, films, friendships, and ideas that will shape your future. It's the tool that will let you dream wider, travel farther, and think deeper. And every single word you learn brings that future closer. So don't stop. Even when progress feels invisible, even when your energy fades, keep going, because someday you'll look back and realize that your consistency, your patience, your daily effort were the real miracles all along. The storms of confusion and doubt will come, but you'll walk through them calm and steady. And when the storm passes, you'll stand on the other side, stronger, wiser, and fluent in a language that became part of your soul. When you decide to learn English, you're not just learning a language, you're beginning a long and powerful transformation that will completely reshape your mind, your opportunities, and your future. It's not a quick task, not a hobby you do for a few weeks and forget. It's a journey, a deep, ongoing adventure that will test your patience, build your discipline, and reward you in ways you can't yet imagine. Think about it this way. Every time you study, even for 5 minutes, you are changing the wiring of your brain. You are training it to think differently, to see patterns, to understand emotions and cultures that once felt far away. You are giving your mind a new rhythm, a new music. Learning English is not about memorizing, it's about becoming. You become someone who can express feelings with confidence, someone who can understand people from every part of the world, someone who can connect ideas across borders. At first, the journey feels slow. You might struggle to remember new words, you might misunderstand sentences, or you might freeze when you try to speak. That's normal. That's the storm every learner goes through. But what matters most is not the mistakes you make, it's how many times you rise after them. Every mistake is proof that you're trying, that you're alive in the process. The people who give up never learn, but the people who keep going, even when it's hard, are the ones who change their destiny. English will challenge you in ways that other skills never could. It will push you to listen carefully, to think deeply, to practice daily. It will force you to face your own frustration and overcome it. But that struggle is what makes it meaningful. Because once you start seeing progress, once you read a paragraph and understand it fully, once you speak and someone nods with understanding, you feel a kind of quiet joy that nothing else can replace. And this process doesn't just change your brain, it changes your life. Suddenly, you can read books that were written by great thinkers in their original words. You can watch movies, listen to songs, and understand the emotion hidden in every phrase. You can travel to another country and speak freely, without fear. You can connect with people you've never met before, share your ideas, and learn from theirs. English turns your curiosity into a bridge, one that takes you wherever you want to go. But here's the part most people forget. Learning English is not just about words. It's about building character. It teaches you discipline because you have to study even when you're tired. It teaches you humility because you'll make mistakes and have to laugh at yourself. It teaches you confidence because over time, you realize that you can say what you mean and be understood. That's power. Not loud power, but quiet, steady, real power. Each small action adds up. When you read an article in English, you are not wasting time. You are growing. When you listen to a podcast while doing chores, your brain is learning rhythm and tone. When you repeat sentences out loud, even alone in your room, your pronunciation becomes smoother, your voice becomes stronger. These small, invisible steps are the foundation of your future fluency. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll wake up and discover that English has become part of who you are. You'll start thinking in English, you'll dream in it, you'll feel emotions through it, you'll stop translating and start expressing. That's when you'll understand that this journey was never just about language. It was about transformation. Because when you master English, you also master yourself. You learn to be patient, consistent, and brave. You learn to face difficulty without giving up. You learn to believe in progress even when you can't see it. That's what true steadiness is, not perfection, but persistence. So keep learning, keep believing, keep practicing, even when it feels slow. Every day you study, you are building a bridge between who you are now and who you want to become. Every word you learn is a step toward freedom. Freedom to travel, to study, to connect, to dream bigger. Don't wait for motivation, create it. Don't wait for the storm to end, walk through it. Every storm will pass, and when it does, you will stand on the other side, stronger, wiser, and fluent in a language that has become part of your soul. And remember, English is not just your goal, it's your path. A path toward confidence, opportunity, and self-discovery. Walk it with patience, with joy, and with steady steps. Because every step you take today, no matter how small, is shaping the person you will proudly call yourself tomorrow.